Hello everyone and welcome to Decision Night in America 2022. I am Blitzer. We are moments away from having a first poll closing now at 7 o'clock. So we are all very excited. Now let's get to it. Tonight we feature the battle for the Senate between the Democrats and the Republicans. And here we have the polls. Now the NBC polls project that the Democrats will pick up one seat. ABC predicts a tie. CNN predicts that we predict that the Republicans will have one pickup, one net gain, and Fox also predicts that Republicans will have one net gain. Now looking at Larry Sabato's crystal ball, he predicts that Republicans will hold 49 seats, Democrats will hold 50 and hold majority, and Pennsylvania is the only one where he does not make a prediction. That one he calls it pure toss-up. Meanwhile, Nate Silver has predicted that Republicans will not pick up any seats, while Democrats will pick up Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. And our own CNN prediction is that Republicans are going to pick up Georgia and New Hampshire, Democrats pick up Pennsylvania, and Republicans have a net gain of one seat. The last one is from the Young Turks by Cenk Uygur. He predicts that Republicans will have 0 gains, but that they will lose Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina. A very dire prediction for Republicans by the Young Turks. And now we have the first poll closings for tonight, and we are ready to make some state calls. In the state of Indiana, the incumbent Senator Todd Young will easily win re-election for the second term. Also in Kentucky, Rand Paul will win re-election for a third term in that state. And in South Carolina, another Republican, Tim Scott, will win re-election. Meanwhile, in Vermont, the seat of retiring Senator Pat Leahy will be won by the incumbent US Representative from Vermont at large, Peter Welch. And we are still unable to call these following states: Florida, Georgia, and New Hampshire. They are all too early to call. We do not have enough information from those states. And here we have it at the moment: Democrats at 37 seats, Republicans at 33, and Democrats do have a lead. It is 7:30 on the East Coast, and polls have now closed in 3 more states. From the state of Ohio, Jane Timken, the Republican candidate, is the winner. She will win the seat of retiring Rob Portman, defeating Tim Ryan in that race. And so we have no results yet from North Carolina. It is another win for the GOP. And it is 8 PM on the East Coast, and polls are now closed in a bunch other states. We can project that the Senate in Illinois will be won by Tammy Duckworth. This is not a surprise. She had the incumbency advantage, and it is a blue state. The Republican did perform quite well, but it was not near enough, and that seat remains Democratic. The Democrats will also hold their own in Connecticut and Maryland. No surprise there. And that means that the Democrats are at 40 seats, Republicans only still at 34. We can also project that the Republicans will hold a bunch of their seats, with Moo Brooks winning in Alabama, James Langford winning in Oklahoma, and in Missouri we can predict that the Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler will move up to the Senate and represent that state in the US Senate. It's 8:30 on the East Coast, and polls have now closed in the state of Arkansas, and we can project that John Boozman will win re-election in the state of Arkansas. No surprise there. It is now 9 on the East Coast, and polls have now closed in a dozen more states. We can now also predict that the majority leader of the US Senate, Chuck Schumer, the Democrat from New York, will easily win re-election. And also the Republicans will have a couple of wins. John Thune has just won in South Dakota, as well as John Hoeven in North Dakota. Jerry Moran has won in Kansas, and John Kennedy has won in Louisiana, so 4 holds for the GOP. And currently the Republicans have a slight lead. They have 42 seats to the Democrats' 41. Now we can project that Marco Rubio, the incumbent Republican in the state of Florida, will win re-election. He has won re-election. We can now project that with very high certainty, winning by almost 10 points, as you can see. It is 10 p.m. on the East Coast and polls have closed in a couple more states. We can now project that North Carolina, the North Carolina Senate seat, will be won by Republican Ted Budd. He will take that by about 2.5 points. This is the seat held by retiring Richard Burr. It is a hold for the GOP. We can also predict that in Colorado, Michael Bennet, the incumbent, will win another term in the US Senate. As well as in Utah, incumbent Republican Mike Lee will win another term, meaning only token opposition from the Democrats in Utah. It is 11 on the East Coast and polls have now closed out in the West, and we can predict that the Democrats will hold on to Washington, Oregon, Hawaii and California, all Democratic holds in the West. The Republicans, however, will hold on to Idaho, where Mike Crapo will easily win re-election. In Iowa, we can now project that Chuck Grassley, the incumbent long-time Republican, has won another term. He has been there for 42 years. He is going on for another 6-year term. Chuck Grassley, the incumbent Republican, wins in Iowa. And currently, these races are too close to call. Arizona, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, New Hampshire and Nevada, all of which are expected to be presidential battlegrounds in 2024. And we can now project that the incumbent Democrat in Arizona, Mark Kelly, will win re-election, defeating Mark Bornovich. This is a very important hold for the Democrats. Meanwhile, in Georgia, it will go to a runoff. We can now predict that neither Raphael Warnock or the Republican Gary Black will reach 50%, and it will go to a January runoff. We can now be very certain on that. And in New Hampshire, we have a projection now. We can see that Chris Sununu, this is a big one, Chris Sununu, the Republican challenger, the incumbent governor there, has defeated Maggie Hassan, the incumbent Democrat. Major pickup for the Republicans. This is one that polls mostly predicted, but it is still a major and very significant development in this fateful night. New Hampshire goes back to the Republicans after being completely Democratic in its congressional delegation for 6 years. And here is the current situation. 47 Democrats, 48 Republicans, 1 runoff. With 4 races remaining undecided tonight, we are going to look at the further developments here. And we can now predict that Sean Duffy, the Republican in Wisconsin, will win that open seat held by retiring Ron Johnson. He will win by a quite significant margin, as Johnson himself did. It will be Senator Duffy from Wisconsin, and it is a very important hold for the GOP. In Nevada, hold on to your chairs, because this is a major development, earthquake. This was one that polls did not predict. In Nevada, Adam Laxalt has defeated Catherine Cortez Masto. He will become Senator Laxalt now, like his grandfather. He will flip that seat for the Republicans, a major development, and they are moving closer to winning back the Senate majority now. And this is a blow to Republicans and a very boost in the Democratic morale. Conor Lamb will defeat Sean Parnell again, and the Democrats flip the Pennsylvania Senate seat. Major pickup for the Democrats. So now the Republicans are at 50, the Democrats are at 48. The Democrats need to win the remaining 2 to hold on, because they do have the White House, so 50 seats is all they need. We are getting the result in from Alaska as we speak, but we have to wait until January when it comes to Georgia. And in Alaska, Joe Miller, the Republican challenger, will win that race. He will win with 41.7% of the votes to the Democratic 35.4%. And the independent Lisa Murkowski, which is also the incumbent, who had to change to independent to run, she has won 21.3% of the votes. I repeat, Joe Miller, the Republican challenger, has taken that seat for the GOP. And this means that in the GOP War Room, Senate Majority Leader now, Mitch McConnell, is celebrating tremendously. He has just won back his old job, and the Republicans are again the majority in the US Senate. And we just jumped 2 months ahead in time, and in the runoff in Georgia, Gary Black has won. He will become the next senator from Georgia. He will defeat Raphael Warnock in the runoff. The turnout was not on the Democratic side this time, as it is a quite known thing that historically the turnout is lower among young people and minorities in Georgia runoffs. This was no exception, unlike 2020, and the Republicans win another seat. So currently it is 52-48 Senate for the Republicans. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is back in office, and Schumer is again in the minority. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time.